Hey guys, welcome to the Wrestling Escape Pod and welcome to a very excited Wrestling Days. I am excited for many different reasons. There's lots to be excited about in the world. One of the reasons is because not only has Tommy decided to rejoin us again after last week's episode where Discord was shutting down, and I'm guessing Tommy has commented before that he gets tired quite, early, and I'm getting the vibe that last time Tommy was like, "Oh yeah, I'm having technical problems," but what actually happened was he went to bed. So I'm very excited that Tommy is awake. I'm excited that Tommy is with us, and also we should just mention that we've got a new way of recording as well, haven't we? This is
We do.
Svetlana's own meeting room or something. I'm not sure.
Yes. Svetlana set us up.
Yes.
I sent her a couple emails. She was really excited. She's a tech guru,
Who knew?
and we all need a tech. Yeah, very much. And she set us up, and hopefully you guys can tell the quality. Craigo was fired. Craig is looking for work. If anyone knows, like Days and I, we're good bosses. We don't want Craig to be unemployed during coronavirus time. So if anyone needs a subpar audio recording device that messed up multiple podcasts, I will say this, Days, for the Apple Podcast Bros, they got a different experience because Craig recorded what it was like from my end last week, which was you cutting out on me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I might have to listen to that then, because
Craig just stopped recording after a certain point, so I had to use yours as the end.
Oh, okay.
So it's not that different.
Okay. Well, no, interesting, and obviously shout out to the Apple Podcast boys over there. I think Tommy was telling me about just the amount of people that are joining us over on Apple, and that blew my mind, because I can't be honest, I never go over there because I don't have any Apple devices. So there's this whole other audience that I don't know. I don't know.
They're a mystery.
Absolutely shout out to you guys. This is dedicated to you, each and every one of you. And what this episode is
this very visual episode.
It's a very visual. Yeah. This is dedicated.
This goes out to all you listeners.
Yeah. This is this is Best Masks, which is super visual, as Tommy just said. It's not going to work on Apple Podcast, but we just want you to know that we are thinking about you. Yeah, this is dedicated to you. Oh no, I didn't even think about that. Okay, well,
perfect.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, in all fairness, a lot of the masks that I think we're going to be speaking about are masks that people are going to know the look of anyway. So,
not mine. I went all indie.
Oh,
all indie.
You've gone it proper on. Oh, that is so on brand for you. That is so on brand. Okay,
really
well,
is.
Would you want to throw in your first one then, and get the ball rolling?
This is a wrestler that's really cool to see her trajectory. When I started watching Stardom, I don't know, what was that, 4 or 5 years ago? She was super young. And I don't know if you know this, Days, but in Japan, wrestlers start out when they're basically kids. So this wrestler, I recently got back into Stardom. I watched 2 matches. She is no longer a kid. And I was like, whoa, people grow up. People change. But I've always enjoyed her mask. It's kind of like a tiger, but not exactly. Starlight Kid. It's like a tiger, but not. And she's one of those where it's like no one knows who she is under the mask. No one knows what she looks like. Will she unmask one day, or is this a career gimmick?
That is a wrestler I have never even heard of.
Yeah.
How about that? Straight up.
Perfect.
My knowledge of Stardom is appalling. I know that with Stardom there's a few different factions. I know that some of the kind of big names that have kind of come out of Stardom, a few of the champions that are there as well, but I've never heard of Starlight Kid. I'm guessing like if she's been there for so long, she must be like a big player.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I assume I've only watched two matches as of late, so
right.
I can only assume that she's at the top of Stardom.
Yes. So describe. I'll put a picture, but on screen, of course. But for our Apple Podcast boys, what would you describe it as? You said like animal, tiger. Is it like tiger masks?
Very much like Tiger Mask, except in my opinion, because Tiger Mask it's kind of like King from Tekken, but Starlight Kid, it's different colors. You got pink, you got white with accents. It flows nicely.
Well,
It flows lightly for the youthfulness that Starlight Kid brings to the ring.
And I mean, this allows us to just touch on Tiger Mask because Tiger Mask was one that I was going to mention. Five different people have actually played Tiger Mask, and there's been lots of incarnations of Tiger Mask as well. I think it was just the other year that they actually had like a Tiger Mask versus Tiger Mask match at Wrestle Kingdom. Because there was a whole new anime series that was based on Tiger Mask, and so it was one of like the early pre-show matches. I believe one of the Tiger Mask wrestlers was actually Kota Ibushi, that was under one of the masks. But yeah, this goes all the way back to like I think it's like late 70s, early 80s. Probably most famously Tiger Mask having matches against Dynamite Kid. They're regarded as some of the best matches ever. But that's a character that's still around. And that's the great thing about masks, is that the character can kind of live on even when the performer has moved on.
Yes.
Very much so with Tiger Mask. But what you're saying with the Starlight Kid, that's just been one performer so far.
Yes. Well, I assume.
From the two matches that you've seen.
That is still the same person.
Yeah. That is a big asterisk, isn't it? Because you did start this by saying, wow, people change, people grow up. Maybe they don't. Maybe they've just changed.
It's a totally different person.
Totally different person. Totally different person. It's just an old woman under the mask now. It's a Starlight elderly lady. That's what it is now.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think so.
Amazing. I've got to say, I do love those masks that are based on like animals. I always think about like Prince Puma as well from Lucha Underground, which was really interesting look, and a look that I wish that he would go back to. I know he can't because of like I'm guessing copyright reasons and whatever, but yeah, Ricochet just not being used the way that he should. It's heartbreaking.
Have I ever told you my Ricochet story?
I don't.
My Ricochet story. No?
Did you used to be Ricochet?
Ricochet's one of those wrestlers who every time I'd go and see him wrestle, I'd always leave disappointed because I know what he can do. And he just wouldn't do his stuff at the shows I saw him wrestle.
Really?
Yeah, like I don't want to say he phoned it in. I don't want to be that type of fan, but I probably just got myself way too excited. I was probably like, yo, this is going to be my mind's going to be blown. And he probably just did a really good wrestling match, not like an insane. Like if you go see a Kenny Omega match, like, yo, this got to be awesome. But if he just does like a normal episode of Dynamite, you're just going to be like, yeah, it was good. That doesn't, what happened to my life? Yeah.
Wow, I've never heard anyone say that, but I suppose it does make sense because he's such a high flyer, like visually impressive performer that I don't know. Could you do that every night that you was on the road? You probably would have to dial it down and just kind of save some stuff for the bigger shows and whatever. I mean, like we are just briefly straying off topic here, but have you had chance to see Ben Carter in AEW yet?
No, I have not.
Okay, this is a guy that people have been telling me about in watch-alongs. I can't remember who. I'm maybe John. I can't remember, but people have been telling me in watch-alongs to check this guy out. He was on Dark and AEW Dark, and he's, I think, had a couple of matches there. One against Ricky Starks, one against Lee Johnson, I think his name was. He is impressive. He is Osprey, Ricochet kind of area. They actually did a late night Dynamite this week. It was just an hour long. He was on that show taking on Scorpio Sky, and he broke Twitter. Like, everyone is saying, sign this kid up. Like, he is he's from the UK. He's from Jersey, and apparently he was trained.
Neighbor.
Yeah, I know him very well. Yeah, me. We all know each other very well over here. No, he was trained by Seth Rollins. He went to that Black and Brave school. So, yeah, definitely, if you get chance, because obviously it's on YouTube and it's free and you can easily watch it. If you get chance to watch AEW Dark, I don't think it was this week. I think it was the week before. You, check out Ben Carter, because he is one to watch. Just whilst we're touching on like Ricochet stories and whatever is reminiscent of that. Let's talk, shall we, about... I'm just going to throw out what I regard as the greatest masked wrestler ever. I have been asked this question before. Who is the best masked wrestler ever? And for me, it's El Santo. El Santo is a Mexican legend on the scale that it's hard to describe. There's statues of him. He is a national hero, national icon. He was in multiple movies. He transcended wrestling. He became a national icon. Like, he is known all over Mexico. His mask is very simple. It's just a silver mask with, just simple cutouts. There's no like sculptures on it or any kind of intricate designs or anything. It's a very simple, very basic silver mask. But when you saw it, you knew who it was. Like, he was in no doubt that was his mask. And he was known all over. He was part of what was known as the Big Three. There's three big kind of pillars of lucha libre, and it's El Santo. Another one that's needs to be mentioned, Blue Demon, who is, I think his mask might be my favourite, It's a blue mask, and I think it was silver highlights on, and it just looks really classy. The blue just looks really nice, really classy mask. It's like El Santo, but just another level of, it's just got like some different colours on. Nothing that exciting, but it never tended to get that exciting. And then the third of the big three was Mil Mascaras. Now, Mil Mascaras is famed for travelling to Japan, travelling the US, travelling all over the world, and really making masked wrestling, really helping to put masked wrestling on the map. Mil even competed in WWE. Mil Mascaras, right? He actually was the wrestler that competed in Madison Square Garden, and they at the time had a ban on masks. I don't know why. I don't know why they had a ban on masks, but he was the wrestler that managed to get that ban overturned. So I think he might be the first masked wrestler to perform at Madison Square Garden. But he went into the Hall of Fame in like 2012. His mask, he constantly changed it, but it always had like an M on the front, and the lines, the stitching were always in the same place. Very similar to Rey Mysterio. Like how Rey has always got like the falcons down the side and everything. But the colours are constantly changing, and that was the same with Mil Mascaras. But we've got to mention those three. For me, the most important, most famous masked wrestler ever is El Santo. You've got to talk about Blue Demon and Mil Mascaras as well. Like, those are the big three. If you are doing a Mount Rushmore of masked wrestlers, I honestly think those three go on, and then you're just arguing about who's the fourth. And You'd probably say Rey Mysterio. Maybe. There's a few that you
Masked wrestlers.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to just before I be pompous, I do just want to say that I totally agree with you. Like when you think of a lucha mask or something like that, you instantly think of their masks. Blue Demon or El Santo, like no doubt, that's lucha. And I lost my train of thought, so it's time for me to get pompous. Masked wrestler, yeah.
Yeah.
Jushin Thunder Liger. I raise your Rey Mysterio. I know it was gonna happen. It was gonna happen.
Yeah.
But
it's fair. I mean, I've got no argument that I can come back with on it. Oh man, where do you start with Jushin? Where do you start with Jushin? Liger means beast god, and it's got the horns that stick out, and it's got lots of like, it's a very elaborate mask.
Very much.
What we're now starting to stray into is masks that have got like bits that are like coming off of them, and there's a whole separate kind of section for all of that. But
Yes.
Jushin Liger, it was based on, I believe, an anime character as well. But I think, do you know what? I really think we're kind of finding a connection with a lot of our picks, and the connection is it's not so much the mask that makes the wrestler, it's the wrestler that makes the mask. El Santo is an icon, and as a result, his very plain mask is iconic. Jushin Thunder Liger is an icon, and as a result, his mask is absolutely iconic. Now, granted, his is a little bit more elaborate, but
It's so weird.
yeah, it is strange, isn't it? It is strange.
Yeah.
I've always wondered, like, because of the bit sticking out, is that not like a health and safety issue?
I don't know.
Like, if he's
Like, are there supposed to be ears? Are those horns?
horns meant to be horns? Yeah, but it's kind
Okay.
of, yeah, very very elaborate.
So like horns? Are those antennas? I'm just trying to figure out. Are there 4 horns?
He's not Ant-Man. They're not antennas.
Okay. Okay. So 5 horns because the rhino one at the top.
Yeah. There's a lot going on there. There is a lot going on. But he obviously retired. Was it earlier this year?
I think so. I think this Wrestle Kingdom was his final.
Yeah. Honestly, my life now is pre and post pandemic. And if we're talking pre-pandemic, I can't remember much. It just seems like it's been about 1,000 years since since we
absolutely
down. Yeah, so I think it was this year's Wrestle Kingdom that he actually stepped away. I think he performed on both days of Wrestle Kingdom, and then it was the next night at New Year's Dash that he did actually finally retire. And so emotional. I was watching that, and it was very, very, very emotional seeing him stepping away because he's achieved so much. I mean, one of the most decorated wrestlers in the history of wrestling, you know. And
he wrestled for NXT.
He did against Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, that was a big surprise.
Yeah, and due to go into the Hall of Fame this year.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But that got apparently it was meant to happen at WrestleMania. They couldn't do it. It got moved to SummerSlam. That's obviously not happened now because that was no crowd and everything, so they still couldn't do it. So the latest rumor is that it's going to be next year at WrestleMania, and there just won't be a new class. So the 2020 class is now going to become the 2021 class. So he will go in. And
at the same time as the Bella Twins.
At the same time as the Bella Twins, yes.
I think that's fantastic.
Yes.
I think it's finally justice for the Brimo. Finally getting recognized.
I actually don't mind them going in. I don't mind them going in. I don't think they go in because of their wrestling abilities or what they achieved necessarily in the squared circle. But I think the fact that they did and played a massive part in Total Divas, they have Total Bellas, they did win championships, and they were. I know the women's division was, neglected and awful at the time, but they were a big part of it. They were either the champions or I'm thinking like Brie against Stephanie McMahon at SummerSlam. So they were still heavily involved in like key matches. It was just that the women's division was in an awful place at the time. It'd be very interesting to know what they would have done with the Bellas now. I think they would have still done Total Divas and they still would have done Total Bellas, but they would have been involved in a lot more exciting in-ring action, I think, because they would have better opponents.
Yeah, the way I see it is it's the WWE Hall of Fame, not the Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's in there.
Yes.
Bella Twins can totally be in there. They've had a far better WWE career than Arnold Schwarzenegger has.
That's true. No, that you are absolutely right. If we're going to talk about should they go into the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame, then no.
Or the Cauliflower Alley Club.
Or the Cauliflower Alley Club. But I don't think they would want to go in there anyway, if I'm being honest. They probably don't even like cauliflower. So, we've got Jushin Thunder Liger going into the Hall of Fame. I've got another classic mask that I just wanted to mention, and then a lot of the other ones I've got are more modern day. But Dick the Destroyer Beyer, who was, a massive name. I want to say in like the 50s and 60s. The Destroyer. I mean, that's kind of the name that he went by, and his mask is so interesting because he has a big nose. There's no two ways about it. He's got this big nose, right? And his mask really frames the nose and really shows off like his big nose. But what it does is it really obviously shows that off, and it really makes him look like a brawler. It really makes him look like this barroom fighter that just looks really dangerous. Like I think he would have looked quite generic without the mask on, but with the mask it's really showing off his nose. It obviously adds a little bit of mystery and a little bit of intrigue and whatever, and makes him stand out from all the other brawlers and grapplers that were around at the time, because he very much is someone that had a very long career and a lot of success, and I do think that the mask played a massive part in it. And what I love about his mask is it's very plain again. It's very El Santo. It's very Blue Demon. It's very much, it's not ornate or anything along those lines. I'll be honest, my knowledge of him is not the strongest, because obviously you're going back to, like, as we said, the 50s, the 60s, whatever. But I know that he achieved a lot, worked in pretty much all of the big territories, and is known around the world. So someone that I just wanted to make sure definitely got mentioned, because he had a lot of success in Japan as well.
What?
Go on. Fire away.
What are your thoughts on some of the WWE wrestlers that when they sign them or around the time they sign them, they take the masks off?
Well, I mean, I don't have a great knowledge. Your knowledge miles ahead of mine when it comes to indie wrestling and non-WWE product. I don't have that connection with them. So, I mean, I saw bits of like El Generico, for example, but I didn't have a connection with El Generico. So I saw Sami Zayn, thought he was great, but I wasn't looking at him going, I wish we could get El Generico, because I never really had that kind of connection there. Same with Andrade. Andrade used to compete in a mask, didn't he?
Yes, those were the two that I was basically talking about.
Was it La Sombra, I think he was called?
Yeah.
Again, I didn't have that connection with Andrade and La Sombra. So to me, I wasn't really yearning back for kind of going back to that. Did you have that connection?
Absolutely not. No, but I was just wondering if you were of the mind that they should have kept masks, or you think that they're good without.
No, I think they're all right without. I mean, I love both of them. I think they're both great wrestlers, and I think that I think there's probably they could do with a few more masked wrestlers in WWE at the moment. So I suppose there's always chance they could bring those characters back, which would be kind of cool. Be
That's
a nice
fine.
way. Because that was always something that was a real positive with masked wrestlers. You could, if your career was going a little bit sour, or you'd kind of worn out a territory, put a mask on, you're a brand new wrestler again, and you get to go again. So masks were very much used that way before, and well, they could do it again now if people get tired of Andrade, and all of a sudden he emerges as La Sombra. So
Was the most recent in WWE Los Matadors? Is that the most recent time they did that, or have there been more since then?
what for masked wrestlers?
Like someone that leaves and then comes back with a mask.
Hang on. Los Matadores didn't have masks, did they?
They had the
Oh, the Lone Ranger mask kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
I suppose. It was. You're right. It was like a pink thing around the eyes that was tied at the back, wasn't it?
Yes.
I'm trying to. It's been a long time since I thought about Los Matadores. Let me tell you.
People were really hoping, I bet, that we'd talk about them on this episode.
If you had Los Matadores on your Master Wrestler bingo card, strike it off right now. That's a really good question. Well, the Fiend.
True. The Fiend. Whoa. I didn't even think of him as a masked wrestler, even though he is.
Yeah, I had him down. Obviously, we've spoke about the Fiend. We did a Firefly Funhouse episode, which Matt and I really enjoyed doing that, and the reaction we got from that was overwhelming. So, if you haven't heard, listened, or watched it, I'd recommend that you do. In that, we talk about the origins of the Fiend mask, and it's obviously based on Joker. Now, you know more about this than I do. What was it called?
Yes.
Death of a Family.
Death of the Family. Yes, I think so.
So it's based on the Joker, and obviously the mask was made by Tom Savini as well, who's very famous for doing a lot of horror Halloween masks and everything. So, that just brings me to something that I was not going to talk about, but how do I not talk about? This episode is perfect, Tommy! Tommy, this episode is perfect because something huge has happened in wrestling, and they are masked wrestlers. Oh, Tommy!
T-Bar!
T-Bar! Mace! And Slapjack! Guys, get your jack! Slap it around! OMG, Tommy! OMG, what is going on?
I don't know.
Dude, what's your thoughts? Slapjack, T-Bar, Mace, what are your thoughts?
Pain. A lot of pain.
A lot of
I'm going through the 5 stages of grief. Definitely. I think I'm in denial right now. It can't, where does T-Bar come from? How's that Donovan Dijakovic? That's his NXT name, right?
Yeah.
There's no T there.
That was when he had hair.
He shaved. Why'd they shave him?
Well, there's a lot of questions. Why have they
Is he balding?
I don't think so.
I don't know why you know this stuff. You're not his doctor.
Look, I don't think he was balding. I think they just wanted something that was going to really make an impression, and wow.
A bald man.
Wow. They succeeded. They gave him, I mean, in all fairness, the masks looked all right. I don't know that I would have gone that way because it was very Mad Max. and I'm not sure that was really the right vibe for 2020. But all right, I kind of feel that Mr. Mace, feels and looks quite impressive. That's Dio Madden, because he's obviously got the dreads as well, which just looks really cool. So I think what they've done with him was fine, but obviously the name sucks. T-Bar. Let me tell you now, I've been to a few T-Bars. Yeah? I've had a great time. I've
been to a T-Bar too.
So if you want to have a good time, hang around with T-Bar. But it
was a Japanese style T-Bar.
Oh, hello. Hang on. I think we've been to different T-Bars.
Of course.
Are you sitting there with friends just like...
Yeah. Wait, what type of T-Bar do they have over there?
Oh, right. Yeah, that's what I was doing as well. We've got T-Bars everywhere. Don't you worry about that. This country's built on them, my friend, let me tell you.
Yep. I imagine.
T-Bars everywhere over here and pictures of the Queen. So, yeah, I mean, man. And what was the other one? The other one was Slapjack! Slapjack! Oh, it's like the modern day Slim Jim. Slapjack. And his mask was like, I want to say Freddy's. It's like a hockey mask. Oh, honestly, I think
like
by the time...
Like a papier-mâché Freddy mask.
No,
Freddy Krueger. Jason
mask, sorry, yes. So by the time they got to him, I think they were just flat out of ideas. I think it was time to go. Yeah. It's time to go home. They were like, we've still got one more to do. And they're like, Slapjack and give him the Jason mask. Right, done. Let's go to the T-Bar. T-Bar!
Yes.
Yeah, yes. And did you hear about what Mia Yim's new name was meant to be?
No.
Shatter.
It's not as bad. It sounds like a Spider-Man villain.
I will agree it's not as bad. But it's still not great, is it? Plus also her
like a Spider-Man villain that's in a couple comics, but then you never hear about them again.
Yeah. Well, apparently that might have been scrapped now. Wrestle Votes were saying that people were straight up laughing backstage as soon as it all got revealed. Because we didn't know the name. The announcers just came out with the names, and they were like, I remember doing the watch long. I was like, excuse me, what did they just call them?
How do the announcers know their name?
I don't know. Perhaps it's on the contract that they signed.
T-Bar. Slapjack.
Oh man,
Yikes.
I'm so pleased that we got a chance to talk about that. So pleased. And as a fan of Dominik Dijakovic, how do you feel? Like not great.
No, not great at all. This is what I feared would happen, and it's happening. My greatest fear is my reality in this moment.
Did you have any other ones on your list then? I've got a couple more.
Yeah, I just know some people would want to hear this. I'll just throw out Mankind plus Kane equals Abyss. There we go. Okay. Got 3 out of the way. We're done. I just love the first time I watched TNA and Abyss came out. Like the mindset of TNA was that it was a C-list WWE, and then Abyss comes out, and his mask is basically just Kane and Mankind. And at the time, I didn't know it was kind of like a tribute. I think I don't know. I could just be making that up, but I was just like, oh my gosh, they need to come up with new ideas. But in my life now, as I've grown older, I come to appreciate the mask of Abyss.
Yeah, it looks cool. I must admit, I do prefer, obviously, Mankind's. Got to shout out Gorilla Press, who are always joining us in the chat, and they actually managed to do an interview with Mick Foley and the person that designed Mankind's mask. So really, really interesting video on the Gorilla Press. legit. It's really good on the Gorilla Press YouTube channel. So yeah, really, really interesting stuff. And they were just talking about the fact that it was actually molded perfectly for Mick Foley's head. And obviously, apparently there was like several designs that were done, but they wanted to make sure you could see his kind of like mangled ear and different things. And yeah, it's a that Mankind mask is really, really cool. The Kane one, obviously, we need to just quickly touch on that. I preferred the full Kane one rather than the half Kane one. The full debut Kane one from '97. He had that until 2002 when he changed over to like the smaller one, and then he kind of kept that. He did obviously the Kane unmasking. I mean, we could spend ages on that, but he unmasked in 2003, and it was such a moment when he finally revealed what he looked like. That was really, really cool. So for me, that's one of the best ever masks. That debut first Kane one. But the GOAT
with the robot voice.
Yeah. The GOAT, or one of the GOATs, we should say, and we've already touched on it, Rey Mysterio. So many different masks. Apparently he's got over 500 different masks. And apparently Mysterio, it's translated as the King of Mystery. And on some of his masks, it's got a question mark with the crown above, and that's because it translates as the King of Mystery, which I thought was kind of interesting. And obviously he's had loads of different kind of styles, over 500, but some of them include the likes of Wolverine, which we saw at, was it All In? I think it was that he was Wolverine.
Yes, I think you're correct.
Batman is done. Flash he's done as well. So he's done all these different ones. Really, really.
Joker. Ronald McDonald.
Yes, that one which wasn't as great. And that was all the ones that I had. The only one other thing that I just wanted to mention was that the first ever masked wrestler was apparently in 1865 from France, and he was called Beyer, and he was known as the Masked Wrestler because he was the first one.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So the first masked wrestler was from France. Apparently, he did travel over to the US, and it's believed that it is him, that one guy, that actually brought the notion of wearing a mask whilst wrestling. And so it all kind of came from France, which is really, really
That's
interesting.
incredible.
Yeah. So there we go.
You'd assume it would be Mexico.
You really would. You really, really would. But you know what? There's no history of mass wrestling in Mexico. Like, the first wrestlers weren't wearing masks, and a lot of them came from the US. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, it was like the early 1900s. Wrestling, actually, professional wrestling had started in Europe and in America before it had in Mexico, and it went down to Mexico. So what's really interesting is that Mexican wrestling has got its masks, and it's got like the lucha council where you've got to go to if you want to take the mask off and, you know, put the mask back on again and whatever. Another fun fact about that, Rey Mysterio Jr. took his mask off in WCW, right? He had to go to, I believe, the Lucha Council to be allowed to put it back on again. But one of the stipulations was that he had to change his name, which is why he's now Rey Mysterio and not Rey Mysterio Jr. Rey Mysterio Jr. took his mask off, and Rey Mysterio Jr. never put his mask back on. Rey Mysterio is a different character in WWE.
That's cool. That's cool. That's really cool.
And
I like that fact.
Yeah, I think that is us done for this episode. Just a nice.
We did it.
We did it. So
no tech issues. No, this is working out.
Wow,
I can find the light switches. I can find the light switch.
There's no one to storm off anymore, is there? Which is wonderful. So,
no, it's awesome.
Yeah, I always thought he was holding us back. I think the sky's the limit for us now. I think this is it. We are gonna be up there challenging Joe Rogan for podcast of the year now.
And Michelle Obama.
Yeah,
we're coming for both of them. Spotify is gonna sign us exclusively. I can
awesome,
feel
guys.
it.
I really do appreciate people joining us for this one. This was a topic I really wanted to get done, and I knew it was going to look great visually for the Apple Podcast boys out there. You're just going to have to trust that it has looked awesome on YouTube. You're just going to have to trust us. And if you do ever get a chance to, get in over to YouTube, then, check it out over there as well. So shout out to those guys. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Shout out to the Boston boy, Tommy Toy Travels.
And shout out to Days, too.
Why not?
Not enough shout outs. Everyone's always asking you for a shout out. Where are the shout outs to you? That's what I'm saying.
It's true, isn't it? It is true, but I soldier on.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and hopefully we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.